Brendan Dassey, a name forever etched in the annals of American criminal justice, synonymous with one of the most controversial legal cases in recent memory. Born in 1989, Brendan's life was quiet, almost unremarkable, set against the backdrop of rural Manitowoc County, Wisconsin. He lived with his mother and siblings, his life interwoven with that of his uncle, Stephen Avery. Brendan was a boy of simple needs and even simpler pleasures. He loved animals, wrestling, and losing himself in the world of video games. School was a different story. He struggled to keep up, labeled slow by some, his learning disabilities casting a long shadow over his academic journey. Brendan's life, however, was about to take a dramatic turn, irrevocably altered by events that would forever shatter the tranquility of his small-town existence. On October 31, 2005, Teresa Halbach, a 25-year-old photographer, vanished. She had last been seen on the Avery family property, her purpose a routine assignment for Auto Trader magazine, photographing a minivan for sale. Her disappearance sent shockwaves through the community, the fear palpable as days melted into weeks, hope fading with each passing hour. The investigation quickly zeroed in on Stephen Avery, a man with his own turbulent history with the law. Avery had recently been exonerated after spending 18 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Now, he was once again the prime suspect. Brendan, thrust into this maelstrom of suspicion and uncertainty, found himself entangled in the investigation, his life about to collide head-on with the unforgiving machinery of the criminal justice system. Teresa Halbach, a vibrant young woman full of life and promise, was last seen on Halloween Day 2005. Her appointment with fate, a seemingly mundane photo shoot at Avery's auto salvage, turned into a date with destiny, one from which she would never return. Days turned into weeks, the search for Teresa stretching on, each passing hour deepening the mystery surrounding her disappearance. The community held its breath, united in grief and anxiety, clinging to the fragile hope that she would be found safe and sound. The discovery of Teresa's Toyota RAV4 on the Avery property sent shockwaves through Manitowoc County. The vehicle, partially concealed amidst a sea of scrap metal, became a silent sentinel of tragedy. Inside, investigators uncovered traces of blood, a gruesome testament to the violence that had visited the salvage yard that fateful day. Forensic analysis revealed the blood belonged to Teresa, extinguishing any lingering hope that she was still alive. The discovery of her charred remains, scattered across the vast expanse of the Avery property, confirmed the worst fears. Teresa Halbach was gone, a victim of a brutal crime that shook the community to its core. The investigation, now a murder inquiry, intensified, the focus shifting to Stephen Avery and his nephew Brendan Dassey. Brendan, a teenager with learning difficulties, became a person of interest, his life about to be scrutinized under the harsh glare of the legal spotlight. The disappearance of Teresa Halbach had cast a long shadow over Manitowoc County, the idyllic facade of the small town shattered, replaced by a pervasive sense of unease and a thirst for justice. The interrogation room, a cold, sterile environment stripped bare of comfort, designed to intimidate and disorient. It was in this pressure cooker of an environment that Brendan Dassey, a 16-year-old boy with a limited intellectual capacity, found himself facing seasoned detectives. Alone, without the guidance of a parent or the protective presence of an attorney, Brendan was questioned relentlessly, subjected to hours of interrogation that would become the most controversial aspect of this already complex case. The tapes of those interrogations released years later painted a disturbing picture. They revealed a confused and frightened teenager, eager to please his questioners, his words often contradicting the scant physical evidence. The detectives, employing tactics that have since been widely condemned, fed Brendan information, shaping his narrative, and extracting a confession that seemed to shift with the tide. They painted a lurid picture of violence, a narrative that seemed to originate not from Brendan's own recollection, but from the suggestive questioning of the investigators themselves. Brendan, overwhelmed by the pressure and eager to escape the suffocating confines of the interrogation room, confessed to participating in Teresa Halbach's murder. However, his confession, riddled with inconsistencies and lacking any corroborating physical evidence, raised more questions than it answered. Was it a genuine admission of guilt, or a desperate attempt by a vulnerable teenager to extricate himself from a situation he didn't fully comprehend? The debate over the legitimacy of Brendan's confession would become a defining element of the case, fueling a firestorm of controversy that continues to rage to this day. Brendan Dassey's conviction sent shockwaves through the nation, igniting a fierce debate about the integrity of the criminal justice system, especially when it came to the handling of vulnerable individuals. His confession, the linchpin of the prosecution's case, was deemed admissible by the court, despite its inconsistencies and the questionable interrogation techniques used to obtain it. The absence of physical evidence directly linking Brendan to the crime scene did little to sway the jury. He was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison, a stark sentence handed down to a young man whose intellectual limitations should have been a mitigating factor. The documentary series, Making a Murderer, brought Brendan's case into the national spotlight, casting a harsh light on the investigation and trial. The series, viewed by millions, sparked outrage and ignited a passionate movement demanding justice for Brendan. His supporters argued that he was the victim of a flawed investigation, his confession coerced, his intellectual disabilities exploited by a system more interested in securing a conviction than uncovering the truth. In 2016, in a stunning turn of events, a federal judge overturned Brendan's conviction, citing the coercive nature of his interrogation and the failure of his defense counsel to provide adequate representation. The victory, however, was short-lived. The state of Wisconsin appealed the ruling, and after years of legal wrangling, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear Brendan's case, effectively upholding his conviction. Today, Brendan Dassey remains incarcerated, his future uncertain, his case a stark reminder of the complexities of the justice system and the enduring debate over guilt, innocence, and the rights of the intellectually disabled. His case continues to spark debate and fuel calls for reform, a testament to the enduring power of one young man's fight for freedom and the enduring question of whether justice was truly served in the shadow of Manitowoc County.